The future begins today, and it hopes to be a bright one not only for this Western Carolina Athletics Department, but for the entire WCU family. Good morning and welcome to the press conference for the announcement of the new athletic director here at Western Carolina University. Now, the last few months have been difficult for not only the university, but for this athletics department since the release of former athletic director Chip Smith by Chancellor Belcher. Since Chip's release, Chancellor Belcher has put together a search committee that has tested candidates nationwide, and I believe it's more than 50 different candidates have come through to try to get this job, and the decision was made earlier this week who would be taking over. And that committee, headed by Shay Browning, I know personally, looked for a candidate that would not only put together winning programs here at Western, but would make sure that the student athlete would excel inside the classroom. Now, the excitement is filling up as this room itself fills up. I've heard that it's going to be standing room only. We've got more than 50 chairs here, so we expect a large crowd. A lot of excitement here at Western Carolina University. And also, after the announcement, there will be a question and answer session. So enjoy this exclusive coverage for more than the next hour. And we're going to get things started up here in just a few minutes. Fred Cantler is going to be starting things up, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Good morning and welcome to exciting time in Catamount Athletics. We want to thank everybody that's come here today for this exciting event. We also want to thank those who are watching through the Catamount Athletic All Access, catamountsports.com, and our network, listening to it for our network flagship station, WWCU. Briefly, I would like to take a quick moment to thank Dr. Belcher and Catamount family for allowing me to transfer this brief time here to a new and exciting athletic director. I have enjoyed it, and it's been a pleasure. In the last 2 months, thank you. The last 2 months, I've been able to really get a close view of Chancellor David Belcher and his leadership and his direction on campus. And if you've been sitting on the sidelines watching what's going on, you need to get off the bench and you need to get in the game, because you're going to want to feel the energy, you're going to want to see the vision, and you want to embrace the leadership that he is providing. And you're going to be very proud of how this is going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. David Belcher.
Well, thank you, Fred. Thank you very much for that kind introduction. And I want to just take this moment to thank Fred for superb, smart, and on-target leadership during his interim athletic directorship. I have been extraordinarily pleased with the leadership he has brought to our team, and he was just a perfect choice for this transition period. So Fred, thank you, and thanks to Katrina for allowing you to give up some of your honeydew list in your premature retirement. This is a very exciting day for Western Carolina University. It's a day during which we get to announce our new athletic director. A day like this doesn't just happen, but it rather takes concentrated efforts by many, many people. It's my pleasure now to introduce you to one of those people, Shay Browning, Western Carolina University Associate General Counsel, who was the chair of the Athletic Director Search Committee and did an outstanding job of shepherding this project through from beginning to end in a fashion that was both expeditious and thorough. He himself is a consummate professional, and I am really proud to have him on our team. Shay Browning.
Thank you, Chancellor Belcher. Wow, we have a wonderful crowd out there today. I want to start by saying that I'm very, very happy with the selection and the hiring of Randy Eaton. Randy brings fresh eyes and fresh excitement to an athletic department that is truly on the move. I want to talk a moment about our search process. Since I was the chair, I've got to say that I could not be happier with this search. We had interest from across the region and from across the country, which translated into an incredibly strong applicant pool. A working group from within the search committee reviewed around 70 applications. We looked at people who were exclusively fundraisers, some of whom were prolific fundraisers, marketing professionals, internal managers, and people with other unique talents and backgrounds. However, as we decided early on, we needed more than a fundraiser, more than a marketing person, more than an internal management guy. We needed all of those attributes combined. Of the 70 applications reviewed, the working group forwarded 20 of the strongest candidates to the full search committee for review. From there, the full search committee selected 7 that we wanted to meet. We invited them for off-campus interviews over in Asheville. And after 2 full days of debate, conversation, we settled on 2 to forward to the chancellor. Luckily, the chancellor had the tough job. He had to decide if he liked our candidates, and if he liked them, he had to pick one of them. We took our job very seriously and made sure to suggest to the chancellor only the strongest candidates. Now, I want to speak a little about our search committee. In short, we had an incredibly well-constructed search committee. We had voices from the alumni base, from athletics, from internal university folks, from students. Our committee came together quickly, and we tackled a very important charge. We found a candidate within 5 weeks of being asked to, which is pretty amazing. I want to say a few words about each of the committee members. And at this point, I'm just going to read from my notes because I don't want to mess any of these folks' names up. First, Mr. Gorham Bradley. He's the current Assistant Athletic Director for Development and the Director of the Catamount Club. Mr. Joe Crocker, former Chair of the Board of Trustees. Mr. Boyce Dietz is the Field Representative for Representative Schuler, a high school football guru and an all-around athletics guy. Mr. Fred Goldsmith is the field representative for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and a former coach of Duke University's football team. Ms. Samantha Hodge is the student athlete representative and a member of the women's soccer team. Mr. Dale Hollifield is a former student athlete, member of the Catamount Club Board of Directors, and a longtime supporter. Coach Larry Hunter is the head coach of the men's basketball team. Dr. Gibbs Knotts is the interim dean of the Western Carolina University College of Arts and Sciences and the faculty athletic representative. Ms. Laura Leatherwood is the vice president of student and workforce development at Haywood Community College. Ms. Diane Lynch is the Western Carolina University chief of staff. Mr. Greg Parsons is on the Catamount Club Board of Directors and president of the Western Carolina baseball team's 1002 club. Mr. Kevin Stanberry is the co-owner and vice president of Stanberry Insurance Agency. Mr. Dave Thompson is a WCU alumnus and the current president-elect of the Catamount Club Board of Directors. Finally, I also want to call attention to the efforts of Ms. Cheryl Plemons. Cheryl is the person who kept all of the administrative tasks with this search rolling, kept me calm and under control, and generally just kept us on track. Cheryl was invaluable to this whole process, so thank you, Cheryl. I am honored to have served on this search committee with these individuals. I would like for those committee members who are present to please stand so that we can give you a well-deserved round of applause. And on that note, I'm going to hand it back off to the chancellor, but I did want to say, welcome aboard, Randy.
There are a few other people that I'd like to specifically note and thank. First, Todd Turner, who was our search consultant, who did a really superb job in partnering with us in this process. And there are two people from the University of North Carolina system who gave me, in particular, some good guidance in this search process. First is President Tom Ross, and also Chancellor Holden Thorpe of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, who, as you may know, has recently been through his own search process for a new AD and was able to share some perspectives from his experiences. And then also, I would like to say that I got a lot of guidance and advice, solicited and not, from members of the Catamount family. I honestly want to tell you how helpful that was. I got a lot of it reinforced for me just how many people love and care about this institution and its athletics program, and I'm very, very grateful to those many people who sought me out and emailed me and told me what they thought we needed, because it was that kind of advice that was very helpful. And I'll just note in particular that I had some really terrific conversations with someone a lot of you know, and that is Tobe Childers, who provided me with some ideas about the characteristics that I should look for in a new AD, and he was right on the money. When we set out to find Western Carolina University's new athletic director, our wish list was long and included, among other things, the following: someone who cared first and foremost about the well-being and exceptional experience of our student athletes, someone who was committed to the success of our student athletes both in the classroom and on the fields, courts, diamonds, and tracks of play, someone who understands athletics as an integral part of the university experience and not a tangential appendage divorced from the institution, someone who values academic integrity and success, student retention, and graduation, someone who has experience in strategic planning, strategic budgeting, and marketing, someone who will be an unqualified asset to our capacity to raise private resources, someone who can identify, hire, and mentor talented coaches and staff, and someone who is well-versed in and values the rules and regulations associated with Title IX and the NCAA. I am delighted to tell you that we have found all of this and more in the person of Randy Eaton. He comes to us from the University of Maryland, where he has served in various capacities, most recently as Senior Associate Athletic Director and CFO. He's also was also the Interim Director of Athletics and the Associate Athletic Director for Business. Previously, he served at the University of Houston, where he was Associate Athletic Director for Facilities, Operations, and Special Events, and Associate Athletic Director for Ticketing and Merchandise. At Texas A&M Corpus Christi, he was the Assistant Athletic Director. And back in its SoCon days, he was at East Tennessee State University, not far from here, as the Associate Athletic Director for Business, Compliance, and Marketing, Athletic Ticket Manager, and Interim Athletic Director. He has honored us by his service in the United States Air Force. He holds a Bachelor of Business Administration from the University of Texas at San Antonio, and a Master of Arts in Sports Administration from The Ohio State University. And as a Michigan man, you cannot know how hard it was for me to choke that out. I did some due diligence phone calls as I, in my process of making sure that this was the guy for us. And I want to just share a few comments that I heard in those calls. I talked to the current athletic director at NC State and Randy's former boss and athletic director at the University of Maryland, Debbie Yao, who told me of Randy. He has a great work ethic. He will do a good job. He has a wonderful family. He's a down-to-earth guy, and he can stretch resources. I love this guy. I talked to the current University of Maryland athletic director, Kevin Anderson, who returned my call from the Army-Navy game on Saturday afternoon. He noted Randy's love for the student athletes. He said he won't tolerate anyone who doesn't put the student athlete first. I can't hire anybody better. The Citadel athletic director, Larry Leckenby, who has worked with Randy in multiple places, said, Randy is passionate about his student athletes. They, and meaning he and his wife Jeanette, will immerse themselves in your community and will be well liked by all constituencies. And College of Charleston Athletic Director Joe Hull, who worked with Randy for 5 years at Maryland, said, "He's an excellent businessman. He looks out for the best interests of the student athletes, and everything evolves from that. You know what you're getting with Randy. He'll tell you the truth." We have, friends, a winner in Randy Eaton. Please join me in welcoming Western Carolina University's new athletic director, Randy Eaton.
Thank you so much.
All right, and here's the ceremonial hat.
The hat.
You may have to take that off.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to come off. Oh, thank you all very much. What a great day to be a Catamount, right? Come on. First, I'd like to start with some thank yous. Start with Chancellor Belcher. Sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity. As I told you Saturday evening when we talked, I will not let you down. To Mrs. Belcher, thank you. During our visit last week, you cannot believe how nervous my wife was, having to spend the afternoon with a chancellor's wife. You put her at ease immediately, showed her the community, and she fell in love with it just as I did. I'd like to thank Todd Turner, Turner Sports Associates, search firm, helping put me in touch with Dr. Belcher and Western Carolina. Shay Browning, chair of the search committee, thank you, sir. You made life very easy as we went through the process over the past week. Everybody I met with last week, search committee, the executive council, coaches, staff, student athlete advisory committee, university athletic committee. Couple of last thank yous. First and foremost, we've already given him a round of applause, but Mr. Fred Cantler, directing this department and being a part of this university for over 30 years, both he and Katrina. Please, stand up. Up, come on. And finally, my last two thank yous. Ladies and gentlemen, without these two people, I'm not here today. We talk about team and athletics. These two people are why I'm here. They put up with the missed dinners, the late nights. They put up living apart for a year during my daughter's senior year of high school so I could be here today. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife Jeanette, my daughter Alex. Come on, folks. I love you both. No tears. Try to be very brief, but give you an idea of what I'm hoping to accomplish at Western Carolina. Early in the process and throughout the process, I've been asked, what is my vision? Very simple. I want to win every game, graduate every student athlete, and I want to do it with class. Class that represents this institution, this athletic department, and this community at the highest levels to the rest of the world. How are we going to accomplish that? To my coaches, when we met, I told our coaches, they are going to constantly hear from me, what do you need, what do you need, what do you need? There's a difference between what do you want and what do you need, and we'll work that out. But it's going to be incumbent upon me to help generate the resources for the coaches to get what they need to be successful. Second thing is when they go to recruit, I expect our recruits to be great citizens, great students, and great athletes. If our recruits do not meet all three of those criteria, they are not worthy of wearing the purple at Western Carolina. We're going to set those standards from the start. That's what we're going to look for. For my staff, all the staff here on campus in athletics, desire, drive and love for the student athlete. That's what I will expect on a daily basis. The other thing I can promise you, put on your roller skates, try to keep up. We're going to hit the ground running. To my student athletes, I want the student athletes at Western Carolina to show the world what it means to be a Catamount. Make us proud of you, both the athletic department, the university, your coaches, your teammates, and your parents. To parents that may be watching of student athletes, I will promise you, I will take your daughters and your sons. They will be my own. I will treat them as I treated my own daughter. I will be an ear to chew on, a shoulder to cry on, and when they need it, a foot up their backside to get them up and going. I think, obviously, everybody is concerned about the football coaching search. That will be #1 priority. We will look for somebody who is a fit on the campus, in the community, in the department. I will look for somebody who has a true love for the success of their student athletes that are under their charge. Look for a candidate with a proven history of success. And I will also hopefully find a candidate who has pre-existing relationships with our high school coaches, Western North Carolina, upstate, North Georgia, Southeast Tennessee. I think that's the type of candidate we're looking to bring in here. Next priority, we're going to get that taken care of. My goal is to have somebody on board, somebody signed, ready to go before Christmas. It's aggressive, but we need to get it done. Recruiting weekends are coming up. Right after the holidays, we've got to put them in a position, get the official visits on campus, get some commitments, and let's go. I will also tell you that my job will be to engage. We'll engage the entire staff of athletics, engage the campus community, and engage Western Carolina community. I told people during the interview process, told the staff and the coaches, I don't plan on being here a lot. I'm going to be out. I'm going to be visible, going to be active. I want to make sure that everybody knows that today's our start. We go from here. We got a couple things down here. Coach, during the interview process, you told me to bring a hard hat and a lunch pail. Boys and girls, I'm here to tell you, my climb starts today. My question and challenge to all of you and everybody else, are you ready? Let's go, Cats. Thank you all.
At this time, I would invite members of the media. We'll go across the hall for a quick question and answer session. For everyone else, we do have refreshments in the back. I invite you to partake of those. And then we'll go right across the hall. And then our new athletic director will come right back in and meet and greet with every one of you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, you can go.
Oh, okay.
Y'all can go.
Thank you, Fred.
We have a situation off campus that is very near campus, and the university is in lockdown. So you please remain in the building and enjoy your refreshments, and we will keep you updated of the situation and when we can start moving. Thank you.
What have been your impressions of Western Carolina through the years as you were at other institutions?
I had a good base of Western for the 7 years I spent at East Tennessee State. You know, I knew Fred extremely well. Fred and I chatted all the time. We'd have meetings, Southern Conference. Western was always a tough nut no matter what sport you played. That was always one thing that was, you know, and there were a lot of years they didn't have great records, but they weren't pushovers in the SoCon, you know, when I was at ETSU. I think the other thing that really stuck with my wife Jeanette and I, you know, this was our favorite road trip for football. For a couple of reasons. I did football ops at East Tennessee State, so I was always doing the hotels, the buses, blah, blah, blah. This was a day trip, so I didn't have to really work. I could get in the car and drive over with my wife. But the comfort level we had coming over here as visiting team and the way that we were met and approached by the fans in the parking lot, it says a lot about an institution when you aren't cussed or, you know, things thrown at you. I mean, being in the ACC and Big Ten, I've seen that. You know, it was a welcoming environment. I think over the years, what's impressed me since I left ETSU is the amount of growth on this campus and what they've done. I came in to interview with the search committee a week ago Monday. Flew in Sunday morning, rented a car. I spent 4.5 hours walking around campus. You know, was blown away by the changes of the physical changes, the buildings and everything. Was probably more impressed because I just kind of went walking and I'd see a student go, "Excuse me, yeah, but can I ask you a few questions? My daughter is a junior in high school. I was thinking, you know, athletics, you know, she runs, I think I told him track or soccer, I don't know. But to get their impressions of the campus, the university itself, the athletic department, and their impressions of the student athlete. And I have to admit, I probably ran into 25 to 30 students, random students on a Sunday afternoon. Everything I heard from them was positive. Nobody really had a gripe, you know, so that impressed me. But over the years, just kind of how the university has grown, it's been something I've kind of followed. You know, you never, I think during my years of working in intercollegiate athletics, you never leave. You know, I get up in the morning, I read the Evansville Courier and Press, Evansville, Indiana, it's where I was born and raised. I go to the Johnson City Press website. I do Caller Times in Corpus Christi. I do the Chronicle. You know, I go through and I read every place that I've worked, you know, just to catch up because we always became part of the community. And, you know, there's a lot of good stuff happening over here. I mean, it was even making stuff in the Johnson City Press over the last 12 years.
You talk about how it's grown here, but talk about what do you think some of the problems is? The campus has grown, the football program has not gotten better. You talk about what do you think have been some of the problems from your perspective, and what are some things you think have been done that's maybe better?
You know, talking to people, looking, kind of getting a feel. What I've seen, I'm not sure that they've had a good fit. Somebody that just automatically came in, and I don't want to say they were bad people or they were, you know, my wife's from New York, you know, but you know, I mentioned up there about the relationships with the local coaches. That seems like it may be beyond fractured right now, that it's non-existent. You can't have that. We went through the same thing at Maryland before Randy Eaton came out, and we went, we're going to stop this. You've got to have clinics. You've got to bring these men on. Listen, the scope of the programs right now, looking at it, if you have a quality FCS caliber athlete that's right down the road, where the programs are right now, I don't think anybody would question if that young man left home and went to App. They've got a history, they've been doing it for a decade or two, you know. Problem is we can't lose them, we're not going to lose them to an Elon or to a Wofford or to Georgia Southern. You know, I need somebody that's going to keep those kids home and have those relationships with those high school coaches. They're going to direct their best and brightest to be catamounts. That's what I see from afar, looking at the outside. It's a big part of the problem they've had here.
Through your conversations on and a part of your vision, how do you see the improvement you can make on the falls, Saturdays in the fall here on campus? It you know, getting the fans in the stadium, the tailgating, the events. I mean, what do you see about it?
A starting point, and I told Larry Hunter this, he was on the search committee, so I told Larry this when I was in front of the search committee. I'm going to be on the buffet circuit. There's a Lions Club, Civitan, Rotary, I mean, any group, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to these people. I'm going to get them fired up. I'm going to make people excited about coming out here on a Saturday. Then we're also going to work harder to get our student athletes out there. The old axiom in athletics is there's no marketing tool like a W. Makes sense. But I'll give you one that's really close. Getting to know those kids. Because if you know Randy, you're going to come support Randy. Because Randy's playing today. It's not Catamounts are playing today, it's Randy's playing today. So we want to get our kids in the community, get our kids involved. And not saying they're not, but we want to give people the opportunity to build situations where they get to know our student athletes. And I say kids, and I never meant that the meaning, because like I said, they're my kids, you know.
We cover the games, and one of the things that, and it's an interesting comment you have, but have you ever experienced through your positions where you've been, where on a football game, at halftime, after you listen to one of the best bands in the country,
People get up and leave.
3/4 of the team, or the fans leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
We
fixable?
threw up an 0-11 or 0-12 in 2000, 2001 at Houston. You know, they were leaving before the band finished. Okay? So yeah, been there, done that. You know, we're going to improve the product. There's no doubt. I mean, this, you know, hey, I was a big hire for Chancellor Belcher. You know, now I've got my turn. Now I've got a big hire coming. It's imperative we get somebody in here that meets those criteria that I'm looking for. I mean, I'm sold on that. I think Chancellor Belcher sold on that. Other people that I've talked to that are involved with the program are sold on that. You know, we need the entire package this hire.
Is it not a lofty goal to try to get someone by Christmas? I mean, that's 12 days from now.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, is that an attainable goal?
Yeah. I came here for my interview last Thursday. On-campus interview. My wife were here Wednesday and Thursday. I'm sitting in the Chancellor's office, and he said, let's talk about timeline. When can you start, Randy? So I brought 5 days of clothes. Let's do the presser tomorrow, and I'll be at the basketball game Saturday. Let's go. It's doable.
A couple of things I'd like to mention leading up to a question. As I understand, you're an Air Force veteran. I'm the commander for American Legion Post 104, and I would like to invite you to come to our post and present, because we do have a number of members of our Legion Post whose names are listed on the WCU Football Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
So I know that they will
Be proud to
have you as part of that. The second thing I want to mention is whenever you go to the baseball field, you will see that it's named Ronnie G. Childress Field. That consequently is directly tied in to WRGC Radio, of which the long partnership between the radio station and Western Carolina University is well documented, obviously, with the name of the baseball field. With you, the vast experiences that you bring to this position, can you kind of outline some things that maybe you would like to see those of us who represent the media to be able to work directly with, through, and to achieve your goals at your university?
I'll give you my direct take on the media, and it's not a take. It's not a take on the media. It's take on your clientele. Bad news sells. Bad news sells. You know, the warm fuzzy stuff gets buried back on page 8, but the earthquake that killed 1,000 people is the first 3 pages. You know, I think one of the things in college athletics that we miss is that come on, they're kids, 18 to 22 years old. Again, not slamming anybody, been there, done that, but they're kids. They are going to make occasional bad decisions. It's when they make that bad decision that it always seems like that it's front page of the sports. We had a young man that was arrested this past weekend at Maryland, football player, DUI. Front page of the sports section of the Washington Post. Are you kidding me? You know? But I've got other kids that are going out and doing stuff in nursing homes, doing stuff in orphanages, doing stuff. You don't see any of the good stuff that these kids do. That's my beef. That being said, I get it. Your customers don't want to read the fluff. They want the dirt. You know? But I think it's imperative on us to try to get that good word out, what these kids are doing. You guys can't do it. I mean, your editors probably aren't going to let you because they want to sell newspapers, you know. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to be on the buffet circuit. I'm going to do it grassroots. Any chance I get to go on radio, TV, anytime I get a chance to commentate in the paper, I want to talk about the good stuff the kids are doing because we don't celebrate that enough. We just don't as an industry. It's not a knock at Western Carolina or anything. It's a knock at intercollegiate athletics.
I haven't read this, but how long were you at Maryland?
Just shy of 9 years. Would have been 9 years this May. My longest stay anywhere. Tough place to leave. Tough place to leave. I mean, and I made this clear. I wasn't really looking for a job. You know, Todd and I kind of hooked up to a mutual friend, Todd Turner, and boom, 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 boom. I will tell you this. I wasn't looking for a job, but I was very disenchanted with Division 1A BCS athletics. It was too much about the money. And I know you gotta have money. There are financial issues, I get that. But the kids have to be one, student athlete one, then you pick them. And if you ever get to a situation where student athlete's not one, quit and go do something else. You've lost sight of what we're supposed to be about. And I've banged heads with probably every athletic director I've ever worked with. Plain and simple. Because I just go, you lost it. That's not why we're supposed to be here. Well, it's part of it. It's whatever else. It's not number one. Student athlete. Everything else you choose what you want. I can work with any list you give me as long as student athlete's number one.
Any final questions? I want to make sure we get Mr. Eaton back over to the crowd here. We good? And Todd, I'll work with you on.
We're on lockdown. We got him all day.
Yeah. I will eventually have email and phone here and make sure you guys get. I do have a phone that's a temporary number. I had to stop in Waynesville to get Verizon yesterday because I had Nextel.
They're not here.
Oh!
Verizon's all you got.
And now I went from BlackBerry to Droid. So now my 25-year-old daughter has been trained to tech, showing me how to do stuff. I'm like,
so we'll get you over to the
guys,
and then
thank you very much. Look forward to working with you.
Get back over to the talk.
That's fine.
And then I'll try to get.
Maybe 10 minutes, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have it, Catamount fans. Randy Eaton is the new athletic director here at Western Carolina University. And the press conference just got finished up, question and answer just finished up, and everybody is still here in the conference room. Excitement is an understatement. It is definitely electric, as not one person is left yet. A lot of folks still want to talk to Eaton, see what kind of visions he has coming for the immediate future here for the athletic department at Western. And a few things that I took away from this was that it's going to be nothing short of wrecking balls and bulldozers coming through this athletic department, as he pulled out a hard hat, a construction hat, saying that there's going to be all kind of changes around here, and that anybody that is still here needs to bring roller skates because they're going to hit the ground, and they're going to hit the ground fast. So a lot of excitement. It's enjoyable to see a new, fresh face. And another thing I took, and one of the things that I expected was going to happen, was his love of the student athletes. I know that Fred Cantler, that's one of the big things that he had discussed whenever he first took the position as interim athletic director. And Eaton is going to continue that. He said that if the student athlete is not number one priority, then we're not doing our job. We're doing things wrong. That, and he's looking for recruits that could come in to be Western athletes. And he said that if the recruit is not a model citizen athlete, then they're not worthy to wear purple and gold here. So there's so much you can take away from this press conference. Eaton is definitely the right guy for the job. Chancellor Belcher is ecstatic about this announcement. So the future is bright here for Western Carolina University's athletic department. And don't forget, you will be able to tune back into TV 62 to watch this press conference at a later date. So for the entire crew here at TV 62, thank you for tuning in to this special broadcast of the athletic director announcement, Randy Eaton of Western Carolina University.